We went away to Santa Barbara for 3 days. That's where I caught this from who knows what.
Oh, that's too bad. Yeah. All right, let's see. Let's see. Are we live? Yes, we are. Okay, and
yeah, we need to just.
This is called Yardbird Suite featuring Joe LaBarbera on drums.
quite the solo.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I think
I don't remember any of that. Oh, there it is. I have a picture of it. This is funny.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'm going to slide out of this one since we already heard Joe in the beginning. So
I noticed that of my picture underneath says Julie Berghofer. I just had that changed.
Oh yeah. Did you change it to Julie, or you're changing it?
Yeah, it should say Chuck, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, you can do that easily. You can actually click
I think
on the
people would,
name.
yeah.
Yeah, you can click on the name, and then it gives you a choice of renaming it.
Oh, I see.
Well, I won't do it now.
Well, I think people will understand that I'm not Julie Berg.
Yeah, and I don't even know if people see the name actually. So, ladies and gentlemen, my special guest today, Chuck Berghofer. Hello, Chuck.
Hello.
And he's being flanked by his lovely wife, Julie.
Yeah.
You don't see her now, but you may see her, right?
Mm-hmm.
It may happen. And Chuck's trying to decide if he wants the headphones or not. They probably get uncomfortable after a while, you know. Don't you think?
Better.
Yeah. So Chuck, you know, as I was listening to you play here, it just struck me so, you know, that your huge history of activity, good activity, has, you know, formed you as who you are, and you're so stable and beautiful. And I mean, that's of course what we all want, but it just, you could really see that, you know, and being familiar with somewhat of your past history, you know. Yes. I know that wasn't a question, but it was a comment, you know.
Well, but it was, yeah, I don't know. It's strange. I had a different kind of a upbringing into music than most people. Um, I played in the fifth grade. My grandmother gave me a trumpet because my grandfather played with John Philip Sousa. He played cornet with him.
That's incredible right there.
So she gave me a trumpet, and I played trumpet for a while. Then I moved to trombone, and then I moved to French horn of all things.
Oh,
And I played first trumpet, first trombone, and French horn, and then wound up on sousaphone. And by that time, I was in high school. The year before I graduated, and I marched in the Rose Bowl parade with the tuba, the sousaphone, you know.
oh, wow.
And that was back in 1954, I guess. And 55, I graduated. But anyway, in between 54 and 55, we sent for some new arrangements because we had a little group that was had tuba in it and all that stuff. And it called for string bass. So I borrowed a string bass from the school and started playing that. And I just right away, I thought, this is what I want to play. So by the time I got out of high school, I was playing string bass for like just a short period of time. And then the next thing that happened was go on the road with Skinnay Ennis' band for a month.
Wow.
And unbelievable. I didn't see the music until we got to the gig. You know, I thought, oh my God, how's this going to be?
Yeah.
Anyway, you finally get to the gig, and I open up the book, and oh, okay, that's okay. There's chord symbols and not too hard. You know, so I wanted to play string bass, and it just went through a whole cycle of things. Some really good people. Shortly after that, Bobby Troup and Julie London went with them. And
How old were you around that time?
I was 19 when I was with Bobby Troup. And Herb Ellis is playing guitar. I go to the first rehearsal or whatever at his house, and Herb Ellis is playing guitar. I just wore out an album that he was on. You know, I couldn't believe it. And he took me under his wing, and he really helped me a lot. You know, he was just wonderful to me. And so I met Ray Brown and all those people back then at that point. You know,
Wow.
but for some reason, you know, bass was just. That's what I love playing, and I took about 3 lessons from Ralph Peña, and that was about it. I've never studied it or anything.
Wow.
It was just easy for me, and or whatever the feel. I love the time feel, being able to do that and play. I don't know. I just love the bass. So
Yeah.
that's what happened. So I finally wound up opening Shelly's Manne Hole in 1960. I think by then I was 22 or something like that. And stayed there for about 3 years, $16 a night. And
Oh my God.
Pete Jolly called me and said, can you do Sherry's 6 nights a week for $25 a night? And holy God, you know, yes, of course. So that's when I left Shelly's Manne Hole, but I still saw Shelly all the time later on in studio and stuff. He was the greatest to me. He did so many great things for me.
Did you say Sherry's?
Yeah, Sherry's on Sunset Strip.
Oh, I've never heard of that place.
Yeah, well, it was, you know, that was back a long time ago. It was a great little jazz club, and right now there's a huge building built there or whatever it is. But it's right where, if you go over Laurel Canyon, when you get to Sunset Boulevard, it was right there and across the street from that. Right?
Oh yeah, okay.
It was a good little place.
Yeah.
So I played with Pete, just bass and piano, no drums yet.
Oh.
6 nights a week, and that's where I learned to play. Pete Jolly, greatest piano player ever.
That's so cool. You know, I have to tell you a quick little story about Pete Jolly and me. I did a casual with him. I wasn't that young, but I was, I don't know, maybe 30s or something. I don't know. And I've been singing all my life, but still, when you get live experience on the bandstand, it's different, right? And so the first set, I was miserable. I was trying to adapt to his style, and I was just miserable. I was having a bad time. And then on the break, I just thought, screw it. I'm just going to sing how I sing. Magic. The second set, it was magic because, of course, I was singing how I sing, and we were meeting in that magical universe, and that changed my life, But of course, I'll never forget that gig because it was so meaningful to me.
Well,
And he was such a great player.
oh,
I had to learn. I had to do my own thing. Oh, Dina DeRose says hello.
oh, great.
And I have Joyce Galasco, which I'm not sure if you know her. She lives in Seattle, and she's a big jazz fan and artist. And her great uncle played trumpet with John Philip Sousa's band too.
No kidding. Wow.
Yeah, that's wild, huh?
That's pretty far out. Yeah. Well,
And
my grandfather who played trumpet with John Philip Sousa passed away when he was like 35 or something.
Oh.
I never met him. So
Yeah.
he was gone before I was around. And but he was born in Tahiti. And so I guess I have, he's half Tahitian. So if you look that down, I must have some, whatever, partly Tahitian blood left in me, And I've always been told I could be buried in Tahiti if I wanted to. Or
Oh,
something
wow.
like that. I haven't even been
Okay,
to
well.
Tahiti.
Yeah, yeah. Have you ever been there?
No, I haven't been there. My
Wow,
cousin, John Bambridge, was my cousin, who has passed away already, but he went several times, so he told me quite a bit about it and everything. He played on the Tonight Show for the whole time it was on.
Oh,
Great saxophone player. My uncle, his father, played sousaphone and bass with the St. Louis Symphony for years, and then came out here and worked at Warner Brothers for years and all that stuff. And all my folks, they kept saying, "Don't let Charlie get in the music business." Because my cousin went to Juilliard, and it was a whole big thing. They
Yeah.
studied music, and I never studied 3 lessons or something. And
it's incredible.
anyway, I got in the music business, and I actually had to say I did better than they did. Kind of weird. I mean, very weird.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Mm.
I wonder if you went to Tahiti, if you would feel some kind of,
I would feel
special longing,
yeah. No, I would. But I don't know, at this point, I just turned 85. So, when you get to that point, you think, God, another 10 years, well, I'll be 95. Well, that, most of your life, you're thinking, oh, 30 years from now, maybe I'll do this or whatever.
Yeah.
But when you get older, it's like, God, maybe I've only got 5. Who knows? It's weird.
Yeah.
Things get simpler in your mind about what you're trying to do. I mean, I've already done what I've tried to do. So now
Yeah.
I just love playing and play as much as I can without getting too complicated there's no places to play like there used to be.
Yeah.
Jazz clubs, like many of them, and whatever. But that's the way it is.
I know. Going to the East Coast, so I just had this 3-week work vacation. I played in New York at a really beautiful little gallery called the Soapbox Gallery, and he's created some jazz there, and it's a really nice place to play because the environment is really nice. Then I played a house concert in Boston, and then I went to the Deerhead Inn that I was telling you about.
Mhm.
The Deerhead Inn is kind of has a feeling like the old days. It's very organic. The audiences are totally there and listening. The hang is great. The people who run it are totally cool, and it's just a good place to make music. So yes, but places here, I think there are more places popping up, maybe house venues but yeah, the old stuff. I mean, the hang places, Chadney's and Dante's,
Yeah,
and
of course.
those places.
In fact, Pete Jolly and I opened Dante's.
Really?
In the very beginning, we were the opening act. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It was, wow. Yeah.
I worked there as a waitress. That's probably where we met.
Wow. Yeah, very well could be.
Yeah, I was 21, so it was like over 40 years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, the first
I
person.
drive by it very often, it's a car lot now, but I think about
Yeah.
it when I go by there.
It was a great hang. I was there for a year and a half. The first person I met there and befriended was Frank Severino.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was a sweetheart. But I mean, Nick, those were the days of Nick Ceroli
Of course.
and you know,
Yeah.
let's see. One night I worked there. Nobody was in the place except Carmen and Sarah because the artist was Irene Krall and Alan Broadbent.
Yeah. Wow. Well, they had some great things there. Oh, it was one of a kind, that place. It really was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it was cool. Chadney's, Alphonse's.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were. I'm glad I got to experience those. You know.
Yeah. No. But anyway, that's unfortunately because of this disease that happened. That it seems how many years it's been going on now. A lot of that stuff is quieted way down. Trying
Yeah.
to come back. But it seems like it's coming back, and as soon as it does, oh, we're back in problems again. So you start. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's very weird. I mean,
Well, there's a lot of people out there. I'll tell you because I go out, and there's a lot of people out there going out, and there are kind of new clubs that are coming up, like or not new, but well, like Sam First, for instance. That's kind of like a Blue Whale type of place. The even the Mint, which has been around forever, but they now have Sunday night jazz all the time, and led by a piano player named Sam Hirsch. I don't know if you know him.
I know that name. Yeah.
He's great.
Well, my
Fantastic.
problem with some of these places, they're too far to drive, and at night I can't. I
Yeah.
have no time at night driving. That's what happens when you get older. Your vision at night is.
So your gorgeous assistant off to the side won't drive?
Well, at times she does, yeah, but other times I go with whoever's playing there. Of course, I got a bass to put in the car and all that. So I don't know. Okay, I've done enough of that stuff. Right?
But yet you told me you're going to where? Canada or Europe or
Oh
where?
no, I'm going to England with Seth MacFarlane doing another album with him. So I've done all of his albums, and he's just been the greatest person that I've ever met. He loves musicians, and he does more for us than anybody else ever did. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. Well, that's a bit of traveling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but normally we fly on his plane, which is makes it so much easier. Finally, he's staying here, and we're going over there, and he's going to sing from over there because he's too busy to take he's doing so much stuff. So we have to fly commercially. Of course, we're going first class, but still getting to the airport is bad enough.
I know, preparing the
Yeah,
suitcase and all that stuff.
all that stuff. Anyway, so
I'm waiting for them to beam us over.
yeah.
Okay. And by the way, Taylor Hatch is here too. He's a young guitarist who's very smart and good player, and he'll probably come up with some great questions.
Oh,
So Skinnay Ennis.
yeah.
I'm really not familiar with his name.
A lot
Can
of
you
people.
tell-
Well, that's way back. He
Yeah.
was very popular one time, but he sang, and the band was great. I mean, it was the piano player Fred Otis took me under his wing, and God, we played. He taught me a lot. So I learned a whole bunch of stuff with that band, and the players were magnificent. But it was an old fashioned whatever. We played at the Statler Hotel for a long time after that.
Was it swing?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know. And he just sang and played the bongos. Funny guy. And his big hit was "Got a Date with an Angel."
Oh,
7.
I know that song.
Yeah. But,
That's cool.
But I learned a lot from the guy. I was just 19. What was I? I might have been 18 at that point. I don't know.
Yeah.
I was a kid.
Yeah.
And, by the time I got home, I didn't drink or anything. By the time I got home, I think I was drinking vodka, probably smoking some pot and all that stuff. It was ridiculous. But still, uh, it was a great experience.
So you said you didn't study with a bass teacher except for three,
Ralph Peña is the only one I studied with.
but you learned how to read music somewhere, right?
Yeah, that's a good question. How I learned that, I can't even remember.
Huh.
Bass isn't nearly as difficult as any of the other instruments. I mean, it's just much simpler back in those days, especially.
Yeah.
But I just learned by doing after that. Taught myself, I guess. But it was, yeah, it was busy enough. Yeah, I don't know. I wound up doing whatever, a bunch of stuff. Enough to where I was lucky enough to be in the studios long enough that I have a great pension and all that stuff. Whereas guys that just played jazz never got that far with it. So I appreciate it. I mean, I played a lot of stuff I hated. I was in the wrecking crew for a while, and I do 3 dates a day or something with them sometime, and then I go to Dante's and hang out till 5 a.m. afterwards. Yeah. Anyway, life was great then.
Those were the days, man.
Well, when you're young, those are the days.
Yeah. Who was that guy? He used to come into Dante's. He used to buy champagne for everybody. Don, I would say he was a producer. And God, he used to, every time he'd come in, champagne for everybody.
Wow.
He was I'm never going to remember his name. I thought you might know who I was talking about, but yeah. Anyway, have you been a teacher as well?
Not really, no.
Yeah.
No, I've helped a few guys, showing them how to get a better sound out of the bass. I have helped a few guys that way, but I have never taught. I've never even learned the positions on the bass. I don't know what they are. But I know where the notes are. And I don't know. That's just self-taught. Yeah, that's what it is.
That's cool.
A lot of bass players do things ruin the sound of the bass, and it's simple things I can show them to do to clear it up a little bit.
Yeah.
I've had quite a few students like that.
Yeah, because of all your experience. And I didn't know that you had been married to Julie London.
Married to Julie London.
That's what your bio said.
I'm married to Julie. But I worked with Julie London a lot.
Okay.
Bobby Troup was married to Julie London.
Oh, accompanying the pianist and his wife.
Yeah.
Okay, I must have read really quickly over that.
Oh my God, yeah.
Sorry, Julie.
Yeah, well, that's why I've got the name Julie Berghofer under my name.
Have you guys been married a long time?
We just had our 25th anniversary. My daughter will be 24 soon. She's an incredible person. I'm just really great, and I have a 60-year-old daughter too. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Wow.
it happens when you're.
It happens when you grow older.
Yeah.
Yeah. My husband
to have
has.
a young daughter like that at my age. It helps.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I don't know what it helps, but it helps me, no, not her.
Yeah, my husband, I've been married 20 years to Gary, but he has 2 daughters who are in their 40s. And yeah, so yeah, it's interesting. I missed out on the little kid era.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
It was, my older daughter's not doing well now, unfortunately.
Oh.
She's pretty ill. But,
Oh, I'm sorry.
yeah. And my stepson, who was 5 years older than her, passed away a while back. So, yeah, it's one of those kind of things. Because I was married when I was at Shelly's Manne Hole. That's when I got married, and the first time. And then when Michelle, my daughter was born, she wound up in the hospital. They had to keep her there for a while, or whatever thing. I can't remember how. You know, it wasn't real awful, but it was something.
Yeah.
Shelly paid for the whole thing. Would never let me pay him back.
Wow.
I started crying when I say that.
Wow.
That's how. What a great person he was.
Wow. That's
I was
amazing.
making nothing. I was just a kid, you know.
Wow.
It wasn't that. It wasn't like it is now. I mean,
No.
the expenses, you know, but still.
Yeah.
That's what he was.
Yeah.
Wasn't.
It's amazing. I never knew him actually. I came after he had passed, I guess.
That was he was too young to die. But I don't know. He smoked and he ate a lot of salt. He used to talk. We'd have dinner somewhere, you know, at the MGM or whatever, lunch, and he was always saying, "Oh, they're always saying salt isn't good for you," and he's putting it all over everything. Yeah, what could I say?
Yeah.
But what a wonderful person, and his wife is still alive. You know,
I know she's
and
101
Julie's
or
very
2.
close to her too. My wife.
Yeah. Julie, did she have a party this year, or she didn't have an outdoor party, right?
No, we just took her to dinner, about 20 people, just something small. I mean, a lunch, so it wasn't too overwhelming, you know, but she did, I think she received over 100 cards, which was lovely. Yeah, she's very much loved.
Is she still, did she get back to being able to tap dance?
No.
That's too bad. I always
I
thought
know,
that's
yeah.
what kept her alive, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for a while she was able to sort of tap from her chair
Yeah.
at the Willows, but I haven't seen those tap shoes for a while. So
Oh,
yeah.
she's a sweetheart.
Oh yes, yes.
Well, of course, we have to touch on your fame, Chuck, as far as you know, these boots are made for walking, and the Barney Miller theme.
Yeah.
We have to touch on that. So I'll just briefly say that. So Chuck played these licks, these bass licks that were the hallmark of those shows. When you turned on the show and you heard, like, well, the Barney Miller show, when you turned on the show and you heard the theme, you heard da da da.
You're right.
And then the Nancy Sinatra record, which was
Yeah.
so hugely successful, These Boots Are Made for Walking. Dun 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 dun.
And it's still, for some, it's unbelievable that people still know what that is. Even that was so long ago, 1966, I think. And still young people even know what that is. I can't get over that.
It's so amazing. You know, I was talking with this guy yesterday. My guest was a guy named Kenny Lee Lewis. You may not know him. So he's a guitarist and a bassist, and it's probably about my age. And he's played with with Taylor or Joyce. Help me. It's who was it? He played with oh gosh. Hold on one second. It was a famous rock, Steve Miller. He's played with Steve Miller for 40 years. He's still playing with him. But he had a really interesting point of view. Several things I found really interesting, because normally I'm talking to jazz people, you know, and even though he has a background that involves some jazz, most of his work has been done in rock and pop. And but he said what they're selling is the catalog. So that it kind of reminds me of this, you know, it's like those licks that you did they were like they actually bring other realities into people, and that's why they're still holding on to them. You know, it's not just like a pretty lick that you hear in some song, you know, that goes by. It's like so substantial. It's
it's strange because that one, they had something else written totally.
Which one?
Like, the Barney Miller.
Yeah.
And you know, we played whatever that was. Jack Elliott and Alan Ferguson were the writers of the show, and so they played, I can't even remember whatever they had written, but the guy comes out of the booth and says, no, let's just start this with the bass. This is a guy in New York, blah, 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 whatever, like that. So I played that lick, and that became the theme song. So I never got credit for that, though.
Really?
I'm always bugged for a long time. But the thing is, Jack Elliott and Alan Ferguson called me for every job they did after that. So I finally, I realized, well, I wouldn't be there if it wasn't for them anyway. So
Yeah.
anyway, I came up with the lick, but I never, but the whole thing was paid at that time. We got paid every time it was on.
Oh,
We changed that right after this, but so I made good money on that in the beginning when it was on,
yeah.
which is fine. But I mean, and then Boots was just, they had, Billy Strange wrote the chart, and we weren't going to do it even. They were talking about, this is like the last thing we did of the date, and no, we got to do this because of the cheap, okay, we'll do it. And I have about 6 takes of it, and you could tell, it took a while before I just did ding ding, the way it wound up. Never even thought anything about it. I thought this would be another, who knows? And I can't believe that it's still going today. That blows me away.
You guys were saying before we started that that you get people, you found people online, kind of analyzing it, and
Yeah, on the definitely. I've got a little cold, which is fine. I've been tested. I don't have COVID, but I have to blow my nose. So hang on a minute.
okay, yeah. I was telling Chuck about my cough, which most of you online here know about, and I hate talking about my cough because it's like big deal. It's just doesn't bother me. It bothers my husband more than it bothers me. He's like, you always cough when I come into the room. Is it me?
So is that why you do things in 5/4 so you can cough on that? No.
Exactly. Wow, that was good, Chuck. This kind of goes along with that joke.
Well,
Oh, Josh Nelson is here, and he said you're a
Oh.
treasure.
oh,
Oh, sweet.
yeah,
Yeah.
those are some of my new people that I've met, the young people that are the greatest, they're great.
Josh is amazing. He's amazing. Yeah, Josh. Yep. I recorded with Josh and Larry Kuntz this beautiful project called Dreamsville.
Mhm.
And yeah, just that was kind of a heaven-made project. It was really great.
Well, Larry's the guitar player with Seth. And when we
Oh,
do things, he travels with him,
oh, okay.
So yeah, it's a great band. Peter Erskine plays drum. Yeah, I mean, it's Tom Renier plays piano.
Oh, God. Tom
Great,
Renier.
great group.
Yeah. Tom Renier is so incredible. I remember one time we did a casual together, and they wanted Feelings, and which was of course everybody's dreaded song, oh God, Feelings, but the band made it sound so friggin' good. I felt like I was, a recording star. It's great.
Oh,
Tom Renier's, he's great. So Taylor wants to know if there's any one gig that, I'm sure there's not just one, but any one gig you've played or worked that was most memorable to you?
well, yes, the one gig that I worked and I met Julie on, by the way, my wife.
Oh,
I was with Frank Sinatra in 1991, and we went to Europe, used an English orchestra, and Julie played harp with us, and that's how we met. So,
wow.
And I was asked to go with Frank Sinatra back in the 60s, and Tommy Tedesco, guitar player, said, if you do that, kiss all this work goodbye. And he was correct if I'd have left then.
Wow.
So I didn't take it. And then the next time he asked, I was out with Barbra Streisand doing something, and they asked me what I was making. And I told them, and I never heard back from them. And then finally in 1990, they asked again, and I didn't ask. I just said yes, and I stayed with him till he passed. That was you know, what can I say? One of the greatest things that happened to me. And
Yeah.
nobody liked Frank Sinatra either, by the way. Even at that age, he still sang beautifully. Once in a while, he'd have problems and hearing and whatever. But God, he was just an amazing talent.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
was-
That period of time really produced some amazing people.
So that's one of the gigs that I still, every time I see a picture of Frank, I say, thank you, because I've got this beautiful wife now.
Oh, nice, Julie, huh? He says sweet things. How about advice? Was there a huge piece of, sounds like you had a lot of people taking you under your, or several good people taking you under their wing, but was there one big piece of advice that stands out?
That's a good question. Was there a piece of it?
Philly Joe.
Ah, she's right. When I was at Shelly's Manne Hole, one night, Philly Joe Jones played for Shelly.
Huh.
You know, Shelly was busy or something. You got Philly Joe Jones to play. And I just worn out the Miles Davis records listening to him at that point. Anyway,
Yeah.
so we play the first set and we get off. And this is before amplifiers or anything. I had gut strings on the bass and everything. And we get off and I hear this voice behind me saying, I could make a bass player out of you.
Wow.
You don't have to play. I was playing very hard, you know, like you don't have to play so hard. You can just relax a little bit on that part of it. And I went back up and played, and he was so right. Just those words changed. God, he's right. I don't have to do that.
Huh.
And that was the biggest help that I ever had, actually.
Wow.
You know, stayed that way after that too.
Yeah.
You know,
That's,
just him saying that. And
yeah.
he didn't rob me afterwards or anything. No, I'm just kidding. He had a lot of things that he did poorly. I shouldn't say poorly. Not playing. He was a wonderful guy. He played incredible. But I mean, that helped me more than just those words from coming
Yeah.
from him.
Yeah.
You know, what can I say? He was. Thank you very much. That's all.
Yeah, man. So great. We have a great life. I'm gonna play this. This is just you talking about your two famous bass lines.
Well,
Let's see. Where's
oh
the-
yeah, I see you got a copy.
Oh.
And of course. On electric television. That's better on electric. But you can't walk.
Boy, that bass sounds great. Whew.
Okay.
Sound terrible.
You. Oh, God.
Right, okay. Yeah. I wonder if I could find early you. Let's see if I can find some early you. I don't know. Chuck Berg. Well, you know, let's see. I'm looking. Let's see. Let's see. This is, let's see. Oh, yeah, I wanted just to touch on this one. Now, okay, let's just touch on this because this has some of my old favorite people in it. Al Viola, Sam
Oh, this
Mose.
is all the. Oh.
There they are, man. Sam Most and Al Viola and Chuck Berghofer. They're discussing. Here they go. All right. So these guys are, I mean, like, Sam Most on the flute and Al
Yeah.
Viola
Gosh,
on the guitar.
amazing.
Yeah.
I can't remember that gig was funny, but just people talking and we're up there playing.
Yeah, I've done gigs like that too. I used to play with Ted Green, and Ted Green and I did this gig once where it was at a party up in the hills, and within an hour, people stopped talking and were listening because Ted was, so amazing. And yeah, but it's funny.
Yeah.
But that was great. And it wasn't, I mean, they were up there in age too. They were,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Al was, what can I say? Well, both of them, are great. But that's what happens. We all disappear eventually.
None of us get out of here alive.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's all right. While we're here, it's great. It's a
Yeah,
treasure.
that's the important part.
Paul Krybik says hi.
Oh, Paul, yeah. We just did a great album together. We had a good time
Oh, I love Polly.
with a big band. That was a whole big band.
Oh, cool. Yeah, Josh said he played with Sam Most a little too. Me too. He was just, I loved Sam Most. One time I got to hang out with him in Japan. We were both in Japan separately, but he was with oh gosh, I'm gonna have to remember I'm gonna have to remember these. Oh, it was Hank Jones
Yeah.
and Ray Brown. And
Who the hell
drummer,
is that? Yeah.
the drummer from Boston, that great drummer, black drummer. He was pretty famous. Paul, you probably know who I'm talking about. But anyway, they were doing gigs at the same time I was there. So we got to hang out and it was fun. God, that was a good band too. Woo. Small club, small Japanese club, famous guys, it was great.
Yeah.
Did you practice? Taylor's asking about practice, but did you, obviously you were gigging. That was like your main kind of education, but did you practice as well?
Never.
Seriously?
Yeah, seriously. No, never. Still don't.
I
I've
remember
never.
one time.
Julie says she remembers one time.
No, I do remember a time when
Julie, you can get on the camera.
I'll scoot over here a minute. No, I do remember when Chuck was playing with a pops orchestra, so we had to play some of the classical stuff as well.
Yeah.
And they pulled out the Barted Bride overture, which is really fast. And he came home from the rehearsal with the bass part, and he made himself a martini. And he went downstairs and he started, as he's saying, shedding this part, because it was like, it goes da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da, like really fast. But he made himself like practice, but jazz wise, no.
Yeah.
I mean, he listens a lot to stuff, but doesn't, no regular practicing.
No, that's the most boring thing is for a bass player. I mean, for me as a bass player, to go down by yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty boring. If you play guitar or piano, at least there's some harmony happening.
Yeah.
Bass is one note at a time, and it's like, how far? I mean, you have to keep your chops going a little bit, and you practice. But I always call, do you practice? I say yes on the gig. That's when I practice.
What about a sound? And like My friend just showed me 5 basses that he has at home because he's trying to decide.
I've got 5 at home too.
Yeah, I'm wondering about that because he's showing me all, and they all have a beautiful sound and subtly different. And I mean, I don't know, that would drive me crazy which one to get rid of, or,
Yeah, no, that can happen. But fortunately, I've got one that's I've used for all my recording, but not the one they just showed. I have 2 of them. They both came from Joe Mondragon. The one that was you just showed playing with the alveola.
yeah.
I still have that. That's one of Joe's basses. I bought it after I borrowed it once way back when I was working with Pete Jolly, because I only had 1 bass then, and one of them was being worked on.
Yeah.
And I played it once, and I said to him back then, "Please let me know if you ever want to sell this." 30 years later, he decided to sell it, and well, I bought it, and it's almost ever paid for a bass back in those days. I bought it from him, but I did have another bass I had to give him just to have a bass. So he wanted 10,000 for it, and so I gave him a bass for 4, so I paid 6 or something like that.
Wow.
And this is way back. I mean, a long time ago.
Yeah, yeah.
And so his words were after that. He says, "I sold you the bass, and the work went with it." That's what he called it. Come on, yeah. Great bass player. Great. No.
What about that bass you were playing in that room where you were showing the 2 licks? The 2 demo, like.
Yeah. I'll have to look at it again. Well, but that might be the one I use all the time. It's a real dark, an 1813 model.
Sounds great.
That's what and it just records. Every time I record with people say, "God, that bass sounds so great," So I've just saved it for my recording stuff.
Yeah.
But the other one, Joe's bass, is a little easier to play, but it doesn't record like that, So anyway. So I've got one that works great. The other 2 are just sitting in corners somewhere. The other 3 or whatever I have.
Yeah. So did you spend time over at Stein on Vine, or what? The bass place?
Of course. Well, way before that. Lately, I haven't had any work done on a bass. Oh. I've left them alone, and I think that's the secret. But back in the old days, I was at the bass shop every at least once a week, maybe twice a week.
Wow.
Moving this a little bit and doing that, and I'll try that. But I finally realized if you just leave them alone, they finally settle in. So that's what I've done. So I haven't gone anywhere with them lately. Plus, the one place I want to go, you have to go upstairs, or schlepping it up there, and so I think, I don't know if I'm ready for that or not. Anyway, so.
How often do you play electric nowadays?
Very seldom. Just enough to get a blister when I do it now. It's in a different spot. I played a lot of electric before. In fact, to the point where I was asked, to work gigs, and I'd take the electric bass instead. Steve and Edie, I went out with them way back to Vegas, and I just took my electric bass, and they were like, "You're just doing that?" And I said, "Yeah, it'll be fine." So I played electric bass, and they use an electric bass player ever since then. So weird, but on the road, it's so much easier.
Yeah.
You just take it out of the case, and there it is. You don't have to worry about schlepping a bass around and shipping it. All that.
Yeah.
But once the stuff came in with the fancy stuff, that's when I went back to string bass, because I wasn't good at that. So
yeah.
But for a long time, I loved electric bass. I've got like 5 of them, 5 of those sitting around.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Anyway, I had my time with those.
Well, we know, of course, we know guitar players love to collect guitars. I remember seeing that Bill Frisell documentary. He opened a closet and he had, I don't know how many guitars there.
Wow. Well,
like
John Pisano, he started selling some of them. But God, he had, I don't know how many guitars. 18 or something like that. Guitars. Oh my God.
Yeah. Let's see. Taylor has a few questions. I told you he's smart, and he has Yes, good questions, but I'm going to adapt some. So, in your in your playing, did you ever find that you felt? I mean, because you played so much in the studios, was there any time period at all, whether studios or live playing, that you actually felt like you had gotten into a rut? And if so, how did you get back on your feet? You know, how did you push yourself out of that?
I don't think I ever, no. That's weird. I didn't feel that way. No. It was two separate things. The studio work is totally different than a jazz gig, you know.
Yeah,
So I never compared the two. But studio work I did for money. That's what
yeah,
it was about. And
yeah.
music
So it wasn't had
sometimes
didn't have anything rut like. What about live playing? Did you ever go through like a? Do you remember?
you mean well, I'm sure I've had nights where, you know, I didn't like
Yeah,
or the bass didn't sound good and all that kind of stuff.
yeah,
Oh yeah, that's all. That's always that happens. Anybody playing any instrument, you know.
yeah, yeah,
No, I've had days like that. Yeah, it's not
yeah.
always perfect. I'll put it that way.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, so here's another Taylor question. I just like his questions because I wouldn't necessarily think like this. Since you've worked on a lot of TV and film scores, do you remember having a lot of fun on one or several? And was there ever a time that you had that took a long, what was there ever one experience you had that took a long while to get the whole project finished?
Carol Burnett show was fun.
Well, I don't know. It depends. You know, there's so many different things I've done. But when you say studios, one of them I did Carol Burnett show the whole time it was on out here,
Oh,
and it was fun. But what happened is that we on the I think the day of the show, I'm trying to remember, we were there for 2 days. The first
yeah.
day we did rehearsing, and the second day we did the show. But we had a 3-hour lunch break before we did the show.
Wow. That's a long time.
Many drinks later, we come to the show, and we were all young then. In fact, we had a bar set up in the studio where we played. The audience couldn't see us; it was blocked off.
Oh
So
my God.
in the string section, we had a whole bar set up there. But so that, you know, I forgot what the question now because I don't.
Oh, well, the most fun on, you know,
Well,
or a long project to finish.
yeah, well, some of those, you know, that was a little different because it was a live TV show and it was
Yeah,
fun because Carol Burnett was great.
yeah,
The whole thing was fun. But on dates, yeah, some of them can be, you know, you go in and listen back. Oh no, maybe we can do this or maybe we can do that. Depends on the size. If you're playing with a big orchestra, most of the time, most of the stuff I do, I'll be playing rhythm anyway. But I wind up the bass section. That's a whole nother world, you know. If you maybe there'd be 4 basses, you know, and that's usually pretty simple. It's not just you, but when you're playing rhythm on a big date,
yeah,
it becomes a little. I can't say. I don't know. I've always felt pretty comfortable most of the time.
yeah.
Some of the Wrecking Crew dates went long on one tune, right?
Well, yeah, Wrecking Crew dates. Julie was saying went a long time on one song, but those dates I was just were to me. I shouldn't even say this, but we were like. I don't count them as music. I'll put it that way.
Because it was
We're
get the job.
playing boom, 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 boom. No,
Yeah, yeah,
so, but it was great. Get the money. It was a good hang and all that stuff.
yeah.
But
That went on for a long time, didn't it? The Wrecking Crew period.
oh yeah, it's still going. We just did a big thing out at a club way out, whatever, and packed. We're gonna do another one. What is the
Bogies.
at Bogies? It's a
Yeah,
well, that was Bogies. No, but the new one we're doing up here in the theater,
El Portal.
El Hotel Theater.
Oh,
It seats whatever, it's so we're good. We're going to do that again. And that was fun, actually. I enjoyed it. I've got a stick bass that I use for that.
so what, do you go through all the songs or a bunch of songs that you guys
Well,
recorded?
Yeah, a bunch of songs, and pretty much
But
that.
it's so much fun because of the players, obviously.
Yeah, we have a good time. It is fun, and
Yeah.
it's not jazz,
No.
but it's okay. I've been enjoying it.
When is that next one coming?
It's
August, middle of
yeah, middle of August, the day before I leave for England, in fact. So August, whatever that, without my book, I can't say.
13th.
But yeah, it's coming. Let me see. Maybe I should
13th.
say the
August the 13th.
August the 13th at the theater,
Portal.
El Portal Theater.
Okay, I'm writing that down, and everybody, El Portal Theater, where is that?
It's what?
North Hollywood. Don't whisper, Julia.
It's on Lancashire,
On Lancashire.
North Hollywood.
Yes,
Properly.
okay. I know where that is. That should be a fun show. I wouldn't mind going to that. I think it would be fun to see that.
Oh, it's pretty cool. It's pretty
Yeah.
cool. Yeah. Yeah.
I have a friend who's 92. His name is David Amram, and he was the French horn player on all the old bebop stuff, like Charlie Parker and stuff.
Wow.
And then he was the resident composer for the New York Philharmonic for a while. Then he played piano and sang in like all these folk groups. And one of his main claim to fame now is that he's one of the only guys alive who was friends with Jack Kerouac.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
he has like 12 things on his plate every day. And one day I saw him over the vacation, but before I left for the vacation, he said, "Oh, good that you caught me, because I just came back from a folk festival for 4 days and I didn't sleep. So I'm,
Oh
like,
my God.
Wow.
man." But yeah, it's some great stuff that you can, just great history stuff and wonderful stuff. In fact, he showed me this movie. You can see it on YouTube. It's in black and white, and it's called Pull My Daisy. And it's a beat poet movie that's in Italian, but Jack Kerouac is narrating his version of what's going on, and David Amram is in it and, playing horn. I mean, wow, man, it's just really interesting to go back and look at that history stuff,
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, Alan Dawson. Thank you, Paul Krybik.
Wow.
I knew Paul would know. Alan Dawson was with Sam Most in Japan.
Wow. Okay.
That was a great group. Alan Dawson was so great, Taylor wants to know what are some of your favorite standards to play for fun?
Oh my God. I don't. Gosh, that's a good question. Favorite standards. God, there's so many. That's I don't know what. Well, of course, the blues. That's one thing. That's one thing. Pete Jolly, we never played is the blues. Believe it or not, all the years we
Really?
played with them, we didn't play the blues.
Wow.
No,
ballads?
there's
Some of the
some.
ballads?
What are some other?
Beautiful ballads that you do with
Yeah.
Terry.
Yeah, we had some. Terry Trotter, Terry Trotter, and Peter Hirsch with myself, and we did some great ballads. And I can't remember the names of them now. I'm bad at that. I don't know.
See, this is really interesting, isn't it, Taylor? Because Taylor comes on a lot, and he has studied at the University of North Texas,
Wow.
and he's done some interviews with people for that, for the school, and so he has a lot of really cool questions, but a lot of the questions that you're asking kind of don't apply to Chuck, because Chuck is not your kind of the standard person who we would be talking to, right? You didn't study with anyone. You didn't practice,
Right.
you didn't teach, you know, and so, but you played your ass off so much and had a huge career. And it's so cool because would you say that you, excuse me, would you say that you had a huge amount of desire or commitment to play, or you just, it was more casual than that? Like, did you
Well,
just go, oh, I just love it?
it was strange, but it's always been easy for me. I'll put it that way.
Yeah,
It's never been like, oh my God, I can't do this, you know.
yeah,
It's just been easy, and I don't know where that came from. I've always said maybe it's from my roots of
Tahitian.
you know,
Tahitian.
Yeah.
exactly, but whatever. I've always had excellent rhythm.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
Yeah,
And if you're playing a rhythm instrument, which bass is,
yeah,
um, that's the most important thing, and that's something you can't learn, by the way. There's so many guys that play great, but their time isn't quite, and they work on the time, play with a metronome and do all that stuff. It's something you can't teach. It's a weird thing. With me, it's just been, that was the number one thing that was easy for me. So
Yeah.
that's what got me through my entire career, really.
yeah. It's
And
interesting, isn't it? Yeah,
yeah, it's something, you know, something you can't learn. You can try. I mean, you can get closer,
Yeah.
I guess, if you do that. You know, I wish I could say, oh, it was this or that, but it's always been easy for me. So
yeah. You think that, do you think that, this is kind of a weird question, but do you think that everybody is born with things like time, but that other stuff has just got like kind of gotten in the way, or, you know, got
We're
squashed?
born with certain things, yeah, and time is one that comes naturally. You know, I mean, I've heard some great players that have great time, and it's not because they learned it, you know,
Yeah,
because yeah, they were born that way, whatever.
yeah,
And that's sort of what my thing was. I always thank power upstairs for that, allowing me to, you know, to have that. That was because that's the thing that's missing out of a lot of players is that, especially bass players or drummers too, you know. So the time is an important thing, and it's nothing I've ever worked on with a metronome or any of that kind of stuff.
yeah,
Whereas I know guys that actually work with a metronome to try to keep it whatever it is. So I don't know. It's
yeah.
easy for me. So.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've had classes for singers to try and teach them groove, what I call groove.
Mhm.
Um, and it's very interesting, you know, and you know, like you say, some people just do not show up with it. I always think it's a matter of, it's kind of a mental thing. It's a focus that they're focused on other things instead of being here, you know, and enjoying this moment and kind of soaking in, absorbing and enjoying the moment, you know. They're,
Well, it's similar to actually. I've always looked at dancers in the same
yeah,
way. Who's the guy that I love so much? At what time he's on?
Michael Jackson.
No,
Michael
dancer.
Jackson.
No. Tap.
Oh,
The great. Anyway, there's a couple of great.
like Fred Astaire or somebody, or
Fred
yeah.
Astaire. Unbelievable, and
Yeah.
it's because of his rhythm sense. It's
Yeah.
amazing when you know, and I mean that's something you can't teach anybody. That's all I'm saying is to have
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
yeah,
Anytime I see him, it's like, wow,
yeah,
he's got that, or he had that. He's not around anymore. But
yeah,
yeah, so that's the way I look at it, I guess. But that's the one thing I always had, thank God. So thank you.
yeah. I recently heard about a subject that I'm going to look into a little bit more. I mean, because teaching sometimes fascinates me, you know, and I like to try and get into the person's head and see if I can see how they're looking at something so I can help them. But I heard about this, I don't know whether to call it a method or a science, but that the reason why people sometimes cannot hear like a certain part of the range is actually because of trauma in their early life, and they've actually somehow associated those tones with a bad experience. And so I think that's fascinating for singing, you know, because I'm under the impression everybody can sing,
Well,
but they are unfamiliar with the idea and the feeling and the sound that come out in on certain notes. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Oh, John Prue is here. Yo,
oh my
John.
God, that's my other son.
There you go.
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
John can tell you about me. Yeah.
and Paul Krybik says that you played drums too.
I did I did. I way back. In fact, I played with Jack Sheldon, played trumpet.
Really?
John Dragon played bass, and I played drums. That's when it started.
Wow.
I worked my way all the way up to a big band at Dante's one night.
Oh my God.
And I started, we were playing, and I said, okay, if I'm going to do this, I got to learn how to play the drums. I mean, I had a good time, but as far, you know, and so you know, and that's another thing. Drums is a time machine, you know, so that's what it's about.
I want to ask you something. It came to my attention years ago, but so I just like I remember I had a band. Well, it was my jam band, and the bass player said, "Do not hire that drummer again." And I was so surprised because I thought my perception was that it was swinging and good. So that was when I first got my clue that, oh, bass players and drummers are really particular playing together, and it's not just about time. It's probably about other things. What can you tell me about that? What do you like in a drummer?
Well, their time.
Your time, but it must be something else too.
Well, and not too overpowering, I guess.
Okay.
But no, it's just, but it depends on what you're playing and all that kind of stuff, you know.
Yeah.
But gosh,
I mean, I guess in in a word, good taste, right?
yeah, that too. But I don't know. There's it's hard to explain even. I'm just thinking about. I was thinking back at Shelly Manne days at the Manne Hole.
Oh,
Um, and I've played with other drummers that I thought had better time than he did too, by the way.
yeah.
But Shelley just had such an artful way of doing it that made a big difference too. He didn't just lay down time. He did other things that were so cool.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Different, you know, Peter Erskine's a great, you know, one of my favorite drummers in the world.
Yeah.
He makes it easy. There's Paul Krybik. We just got through working a gig, you know, and he's wonderful. And it's funny. We played with a big band, and we were so separated. I could have been in Chicago, and he could have been here. You know, it's almost the way we were separated. I couldn't even see where he was.
Oh, good.
And but we used a click track.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. In a studio, when you're separated like that, if you're trying to play without a click or something, because you can't really hear everybody the same. It's
Yeah.
you know, when you're playing in a club or somewhere, you're hearing everybody at the same time.
Yeah.
So anyway, the time thing is yeah, that's the number one thing for drummers, really. I mean, if you don't have good time, then you shouldn't be playing the drums.
Yeah.
They're the ones that have to, you know.
What did they used to say? So many drummers, so little time.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
You know, I was listening with my husband's not a particularly a jazz fan. He's more into rock and blues. He has like thousands of records. But we were listening on this trip that we just went on. We were driving a lot, so I to entertain him, I said, "Why don't you play, you know, your iTunes, right?" So he was playing, you know, the whole scope of his love. And he goes back real early in rock and then, you know, up to, you know, present. But so there were moments we were having discussions because there were some drummers that was like, I was like, oh God, you know, this is a terrible drum part. And he's like, well, what's so terrible about it? Because it's just like what you were saying about one of the bass things, like in the studio, you know, the bong, da, bong, da, bong. That's it. Like, what? That's horrible, you know. And then you get a great drummer who's creative, he's artful, and even in maybe music that is not my favorite, it still doesn't matter because they're so artful that it makes the music good, right?
Yeah. No, it's definitely that. And some of the, you know, the stuff I heard in rock and roll wise, I mean, some of those guys are incredible what they do, you know.
Yeah.
It's a whole totally different thing. I can't, and I don't play, I'm not really a rock and roll player, so I can't,
Yeah.
I've never really learned whatever. I came from the jazz roots, you know.
Yeah. Okay, just for fun, my friend Dan found you playing drums.
Oh, really? Oh my God. Wow. What was that? Oh, that's at our house here.
No, it's not.
It is?
At Royal.
Oh my God.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
2013.
That's far out. God. 2013. Well, that was what, 2 weeks ago? No. Seems like
Oh,
it.
really? Thanks, Dan. That was fun.
Wow, my God. I think I barely remember that now. Yes. That's funny because I have a set of blue drums like that in our music room downstairs.
Oh, really?
I thought, oh, that's me playing the drums on. No, it wasn't. It's weird. Wow, that's great.
Taylor
Geez.
said you have pretty good time. Ha.
Wow.
Oh, I have a message to me. Amy, no, I am not from New Jersey. I'm from Boston, but I like New Jersey. And John, by the way, John Prue said, hey, Dad.
Yeah, oh, bless him. Yeah, I'll never forget the first album I ever did with John. He called, you know, I'm making an album. I'd never met him before or anything. And as soon as he said he had Joel Barber, I said, who's playing drums? He said, Joel Barber. And I said, okay, I'll be there. And I think Joe's done all of his albums too now.
That was a while ago, right? Like
Oh, it's been a
15
while.
years ago or
Yeah.
something, or maybe
20
longer.
years.
I mean, John's pretty young, but yeah, what a classy guy John is.
Oh, forget it. He's what can I say? He's just great in many ways, you know.
Yeah, yeah. He's
And as a person, and his family is just ridiculous.
I know.
His daughter is the most talented, unbelievable talent in music. She is. He sends little things once in a while, and she does, and it's like, my God, you know.
That's what he was telling me. I saw him recently, and John, you were gonna share something with me about what, you know, like a little video thing of her doing something.
Yeah, well, it'd be great if he did because, yeah, she's so talented.
Yeah,
And she doesn't play jazz. It's a whole nother world that she's in, you know. It's
Yeah.
not just, but her just really great, really great.
that's great.
Anyway, John, I love you, man.
Oh. Well, let's see. I guess, well, as I was saying before, I was speaking to Calabria Foti, and who I guess you guys were all studio players together, and actually with Seth too, right?
Calabria sang, yeah.
Oh, yeah, right, yes,
Yeah.
with Seth, yeah, I kept forgetting the names of some, but right, she did, yeah, it did.
So somebody had asked, and you had mentioned that Seth was really an amazing person. So you've been playing for Seth for so long, right? Long time.
Well, since, I don't know if I count how many years, but 8 years or something like that, I guess, somewhere like that.
Yeah.
Even like, and it's not when I started with him. I started before that, but like the thing I mentioned, he was 70.
No, 37.
He was 37.
Oh yeah.
So I
You
knew
were
him probably when he
73.
was 35, maybe, or something like that. But, yeah. So, but he's the greatest. He on my birthday, I get a call from him. We talk for an hour on the phone.
Oh,
He's
where did he lives
always
here,
tells
right?
me after I get off the stand, he said, "Chuck, you got to make it to be 100." And he gave me a great birthday party at his house when I was 80, and the next one is 90. So in 5 years, I'm going to have another great birthday party.
Wow. I hope I'm there.
Well, I'll make sure you're invited.
Yeah, next year I'm going to be 70. Strange.
Really?
Yeah, and I can't.
Gosh.
I mean, it's funny because my friend just turned 70. We went to a little birthday party Sunday, and he was saying that it was kind of mind blowing for him. And I thought, the one age that I turned that kind of blew my mind was, for some reason, was 30. I never thought about it. The day I turned 30, I was weirded out. I thought, I'm not in my 20s anymore. It's like,
Yeah, that's a big move. I remember that too. Yeah.
but I
In
remember,
their 20s, it's another world. You're still just a kid. But
yeah, right?
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
50
remember,
was a big deal, all that, but
did you know Gene Stone, the drummer?
I know the name. I can't remember.
He was a really great bebop player, but he told me when I was approaching 60, he said, 60 is so cool.
Oh, well, when I was 60, it was like, I thought I was old at 60, but when I look back now, it's 60, I'm kidding, my God, because 60, 70, 80, 90, well, you can still figure things 35, 40 years from now. I'll be, when you're 85, or some of my friends that are in their 90s already, you can count it on a few fingers. So it becomes less easy to count. I just pray that I go to bed and don't wake up. That's all.
That would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
What do you think? I mean, as long as we're talking about this, anything else about getting older? I mean, what? Like, I saw that movie Jumanji. Well, the second Jumanji movie, in which what's his name was in it? What's his name? The really short, funny guy.
I don't even know that movie, so
Oh, well, it's the guy, who was in Cheers, and he's short. He was in King of Queens or something, was he? Or something. Anyway, Danny DeVito.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
My names are
Oh,
terrible.
of course.
Anyway,
that's weird because I've worked with him
oh,
locally. I mean, I'm playing on a couple of his things.
oh, cool. Well, so in the movie, he's the grandfather, and in the beginning of the movie, he keeps telling his grandson, how shitty growing older is, how it sucks, and he's kind of in bed, and he's on an oxygen thing, and and then they all get sucked into this video game and have these wild experiences, and then he comes back, and then he's talking to his grandson, and he says, getting old is, and his grandson says, yeah, I know, it sucks. And he says, no, actually, it's a gift. And so, I mean, I'm getting older too. You're older than me. So Well, I mean, we've kind of touched on that along the way, but yeah, I don't know if is there anything that that you want to say about that, or do you feel like people should kind of know on the good side?
Well, um, that's a good question. I just noticed, I don't know.
Stay connected with the young people.
Yes, right. Julie has it right. Stay connected with the young people. That's, yeah, it's a whole nother world now. When you watch TV or what, it's another young people and they're on the, they're all, every time they're walking down the street, they all have a phone in their hand and looking at it and all that stuff. It's another world and it's their world, which is fine.
Yeah,
The older folk, we didn't have phones in the beginning or TV. I remember we didn't have TV when I was a kid at all,
yeah,
So things have changed, but and things were simpler then because we didn't have news all day long. We had one half an hour at night,
yeah,
and then if you go to a movie, you'll see what's happening with the war and all that kind of stuff.
yeah,
But and in a lot of ways that was much better, But now it's just information on top of information. The world has changed, and it's for young people to do it now. It makes it difficult for olders to be into that whole thing because we were raised differently.
yeah.
But that's what happened. There were old people when I was young that I thought
They said the same thing. Yeah,
same thing. So that's the way it is. That's why we don't all, everybody dies. You don't live forever,
yeah,
because there's no way you could live for 300 years and all the changes that go on in that period of time. There's no way you could even
yeah.
do that. Anyway, that's my little bit about that.
Yeah, yeah. And even living a long time and going through like you didn't have TV, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when I met Gary, my husband, a little over 20 years ago, just 20 years ago, we didn't have cell phones. We
No.
had the computer was kind of big and chunky.
Yeah.
I mean, I was sending out snail mail packages to Europe if I wanted to go to Europe, and making phone calls, and so now do I remember, I mean, the past kind of doesn't exist really. It's just like memories. And really it's about now. It's about
Yeah.
the moment,
Yeah.
So I think I'm pretty sure that the more happy you are with being in the moment, the better off you are. And
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
like you say, stay connected to the young people and just enjoy the moment. Enjoy it,
Yeah.
know.
No, it's a whole other world. But you're right. I don't know what else to say. It helps when you're in decent health. I mean, I do have a cold right now, first one I've had in
Yeah,
5 years, I think.
yeah,
But other than that, I've been very lucky. I've had things. I've had operations and a few things, but thank God, health is so important.
yeah,
If if you have some really like Gene Cipriano right now is going through some awful
Right.
stuff, and we all love him so much, and just pray that he can come out of this. He'll be, he's an older fellow, and then I have lunch with guys that are older, and then older 90s, and then up a ways, and it's so I feel like a kid sometimes. I'm there because I'm only 5.
yeah.
So anyway, it's what it is. Age is, that's why Shelly Manne's wife is 101.
Yeah, man.
That's
Yeah,
it'd be tough.
yeah. I mean, I don't know if the word flaunt is good, but I like saying my age because that's how old I am.
Well, I
You
would
know?
have never guessed you will be 70 on your next birthday.
I'll be 70 in next May. Yeah.
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 No, I don't know what I figured you were in your 50s.
Cute.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Well, it's fun. I've looked in the mirror over the years and, I see the changes and I just go, well, that's it. It's just what it is, and enjoy it, smile a lot, have a good time. And,
Well, I just started dyeing my hair gray. I'm trying to think.
it looks good on you.
Well, I don't know. It's white now. My God. Can't believe it. No.
Yeah, but your glasses are very hip. They match your hair. I love it.
Well, yes. Well, you have to be hip,
Of course. Um, so, wow. So you're going to London, and how long is that trip?
It takes about 10 hours or something like that.
Yeah, and then you're there a week.
And then we're there for about a week.
Okay.
Four double dates, I think is all. And we're not even doing, originally we're going to do, all this Sinatra stuff because no, I can't think of his name. Oh, Seth bought the Sinatra library, which I set up sort of for him, I introduced him to the guy that was handling all that.
Wow.
The first thing out of Seth's mouth, I said, if you want to buy that, this is the guy to talk to. And the first thing out of his mouth was, I'll pay more than anybody, which I think once the lawyers got involved, he didn't, but it wasn't because of him, believe me.
Interesting.
Anyway, he's got that, and he wants to do a bunch of stuff that Sinatra didn't record, for one thing. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
And then he's putting the whole thing in a library thing, we're
Donating
it,
Wow.
He does stuff like that. Just
That's really cool.
unbelievable stuff like that people don't even know about, he helps people out, I'll put it that way. Anyway.
And that studio that you guys are going to, you said you've been there before. That's a super, super famous studio, right?
Oh, well, that's where the Beatles did all their stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how is that studio?
It's great.
Do you find it like unusually great, or is it, it's just like, yeah, it's a great studio?
Well, I don't know. Well, there's another big room, but we're in the small room, which is where the Beatles were. It's great, and I love being in England anyway. England is a whole nother world, and it's one of the good parts is everybody's not carrying a gun over there.
Yeah.
Like here. I mean, I don't even own one, but I mean, when you look at all that, it's like, wow. So over there, it's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
You feel much safer. I'm not that they don't have stuff going on, but nothing like what we do in 1 week. I doubt if they do in a year. So
Yeah. Let's see. I'm thinking of a few more questions for you.
Oh.
Let's see. But my questions that I see here are they're relating again, kind of like Taylor's, questions to somebody. You are a player, and I really haven't talked to a lot of players like that who didn't really study and didn't practice and didn't, the things that we were talking about before. So, how do you practice? You go out on your gigs. How do you schedule your workload? You go out on your gigs,
Wow.
stuff like that. Here's a question. Do you listen much to the newer, like what's coming out now in jazz?
Somewhat, but it kind of turns me off actually, because it's turning more into kind of a freak show, I call it. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not. It's some of it's too.
technical.
I don't know the word, the right words for it. Maybe not technical so much. It's just one chord for a long time, and then this and that, whatever. I don't know. But I understand where it's going, because I listen to the old jazz stuff. And I can understand where that's, been done enough, changing stuff. And then that's fine. I understand that. It's just that it's becoming, and there's more sort of straight eighth things happening in it too.
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean,
it's
I don't know. It's fine wherever it goes, it's the way it is.
well, it's always, when I hear the ridiculous comment about, jazz is dead, it's like jazz is just reflecting. It's always been changing and reflecting
Yeah,
what the people are doing and what life is
no,
doing.
I understand. And it's good. I mean, some of the stuff I hear, Julie's involved with what's an outfit here? LA Jazz Society.
Oh yeah.
And we listen to a bunch, young groups, they'll be
Yeah.
on whatever. And it's weird. They like to play more I call it almost disharmony music.
Yeah.
It's further out, and it's not straight ahead like it used to. I don't know. It's just different. So,
Yeah, it is different.
I wouldn't be good at that either. So,
Personally, I get into my moods change. That's what I go with. It's like, am I in the mood to hear this? No. Am I in the mood to hear this? Yes. And of course, good music is good music. When I was in at the Deerhead Inn the night before, Harry Allen was playing sax, and with a great pianist, I guess, who accompanies a lot of people in New York, John DiMartino, and the bass player's name, I can't remember, Vince DuPont. Wow. Unbelievable. I remembered his name.
wow.
But anyway, it was great. It was definitely straight ahead, and it was all standards. And
Great. Yeah.
but Harry Allen has a great tone, and you watch him, and he's in love with playing. He's playing, and you see it in his eyes and his face. He's like, "Oh, this is so delicious," and it's great. It's so, it's wonderful to see that and to hear that music. It's sophisticated, but it's not it's not you're not it's understandable, and it's sophisticated too. It's great. Really great. Yeah. Here's kind of a deep question from Taylor here. This is one, Taylor, this kind of question I like to think about, I think. But anyway, here it goes. How would you describe maturity in musicians? What does it look like? It's a great question.
Gosh, I don't. Well, first of all, I don't know any musicians that are mature.
Okay, there you go, Taylor.
Gosh.
I know, that's a deep question, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I guess you would judge that by how they play.
Yeah.
Confidence
In their playing and so forth.
Yeah.
And if they enjoy playing.
Yeah.
It doesn't take much to not be good in jazz. Small.
Wow, I love that comment. That's great. I love that comment. Sorry, that just jumped out at me. That was a funny comment. Okay, sorry. Continue, because I stepped.
No, I don't know. I'm just,
Now, what did you mean by that, though? It doesn't take much to be not good.
Because the difference between good or great, what I want to call it, and just okay is not that much.
Yeah.
It's not like some huge thing,
Yeah.
It's just a very thin line between great and okay,
Yeah.
So,
It's almost For me, it's almost like a location in space, or like I think a greater musician, and I'm not talking about necessarily technically, but a great musician has either created or joined in this kind of universe with the other musicians, and they're totally serving the music. And within that is you said it in a different way, but there's a calmness
Yeah.
and a being there, and recognizing space, and it just kind of working together on this flow, right? And so when I see that, that's what I look for in music, regardless of the style. When I see that, then I find that I like the music. And if
Yeah,
I don't see that, then I find that I don't have much tolerance.
well, it's, yeah, it's hard to explain because um, music is, God, what's the word? Music is different to everyone ears.
Mm.
Everybody might have a different viewpoint on it. It's not just one way,
Yeah.
but I think that when you've been in it for a long time, like I have, I guess, there's just certain things that I love more than others. But overall, uh, music is one of the few things in life that gives you a great feeling, hope, takes your mind off of everything else. That's one of the things about music that's so incredible. As soon as you start playing, all the other shit you're worrying about disappears because you can't think of both at the same time. And it's really a wonderful way out for a while, because it's a different part of the brain, that's working. You're not thinking, oh, the thing I was worrying about this morning. You can't even think about it at all when you're playing.
Yeah.
So that's why I love music so much. It takes you just into one place,
Yeah.
It's very healthy.
Yeah. It's pretty delicious. And then it's funny when people say, well, why do you do it? It's like, well,
Yeah.
kind of hard to explain, but I felt like it was it was like a religion, because, in religion, you practice something that brings you closer to God. And so that's basically what you just described. It's like
Yeah.
you're doing something over and over again. And that feeling that you described, to me, that's holy.
Well,
That's,
the great part is you can't be thinking about something else while you're doing it.
yeah.
It's a whole different part of the brain. And well, yeah, what can I say? If I don't feel good or something or whatever, and I start playing music, I forget about all the other shit that whatever it is,
Yeah.
you're just thinking about that, and it's just a different part of the, you can be what's the word? You can be smarter than hell and know everything about life and all that, but when it comes to music, it's just another small part. It's just one little section of all that knowledge that's happening. It's part of the brain that doesn't work for everything. I'll put it that way. It
Yeah.
works for music, but puts you in a different place.
Yeah. I guess other forms of art are the same for the
Yeah, they would be, I
artist,
think,
right?
in a lot of ways. Yeah,
Yeah.
probably are. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've never been able to draw anything worth a darn, or any different art forms, or write stuff that, in words that
Yeah.
mean anything. Yeah, but music is I think music is a different part of the brain,
Feeling.
a feeling of it, and whatever.
Yeah. Do you have any books that you like, music books, or or books written by musicians? Do you have anything like that you like?
I think I've read 2 books in
No.
my life.
No.
So
No. No, he reads a lot of psychology.
Well, I read some psychology stuff once in a while.
Yeah.
I'm not a big reader though, mainly because of vision.
Oh.
See where the damn anymore. But, yeah.
Yeah, kind of philosophical. Like there's Kenny Werner wrote a great book, Effortless Mastery, and he wrote it. It was such an impression on the world. Like it was 25 years ago that Berkeley, about 7 years ago, literally made a department dedicated to that book, Effortless Mastery.
Wow.
And he teaches there too. And it's the kind of book that he wrote it kind of specifically for pianists, but then it applied to everybody. But stuff like if you sit at the piano and you hit a note and you don't like it and you go, ooh, instead of that, you hit the note and you should, oh, that's different. Let me see what I can do with that. So it's about that kind of thing. And you can imagine it got a lot of notoriety. And actually, more people used to come to his workshops about that stuff than go to see him play, which he was kind of annoyed in the beginning. But now I feel he just came out with a second book actually called Being the Instrument, which I really like too, which is nice. Even 25 years later, it's kind of a development. But yeah, so a few players, Victor Wooten, the bass player, he wrote a great book, and Stephen Nachmanovich, about 25 years ago, wrote a book called Free Play, Improvisation in Life and the Arts, which I thought it was like a Bible to me. It was one of those books you open anywhere and it's talking to you, and you're marking up the whole book. Yeah, but that has been fun. I like some of those things. Oh, did you work with Frank Zappa?
Yes, I did.
Thanks,
Way back.
Dan, for reminding me. Wow. So, okay, got to talk a little bit about Frank Zappa before we
Well,
go.
I can't, I was just way out there, and I was using electric bass, and the electric bass I was using belonged to Bob Bang, I believe it was.
Oh,
And God, it was really an old one, and like the serial number was 2 numbers or something.
oh, jeez.
And,
Wow.
it was so great. Anyway, but yeah, I did this. I was doing all kinds of dates. And, yeah, Frank
Lumpy
Zappa,
gravy, isn't it?
Lumpy Gravy. The thing.
Was it a record or was it a?
Yeah, a record. Yeah, which I don't even have. But in fact, I played with him before that in a club. He played piano and I played bass. I remember doing that
Oh my God.
way back, before anybody knew who he was or anything. And I didn't even know who he was either then. But I remember doing that. And then, yeah, but you're right. Of all people, Frank Zappa, yeah.
That's like Ross Tompkins used to did some studio stuff with, no, I can't remember who, but it was earlier in his career, but he was in New York and he did it with for some rock guy.
Yeah.
And of course Ross was, Mr. Straight Ahead.
Incredible. I'll miss him so much. Yeah.
I do too.
He's
I made a duo record with him. That was really, really fun because of course he's like a singer's dream. He was great.
Oh, he was great. And I love it. I mean, we do a gig and he'd go through 2 6-packs of beer. That's all. All he, and then after the gig, he just disappeared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't talk a lot either.
No.
No.
I'm just sorry that he left us so early. But,
Yeah, well, his wife was one of my best friends,
oh,
and she had passed away just a few years earlier.
Yeah.
I just thought he just,
yeah.
just,
I know.
he didn't have the heart to last after that.
Yeah. How old would he have been when he died? I can't remember.
When he died?
Yeah.
Um,
I can't remember. It's
not that old. I don't
He
think
wasn't that old. No,
No.
he wasn't.
in his 70s maybe, or early 70s or something.
Well, if he was even that old, but I can't remember how much older he was than me, you know.
Well, it was definitely about 15 years ago,
Yeah, wow.
because his wife died while I was married to Gary, and that's been 20 years. And
Wow.
so she died 18 years ago, something like that, 17, 18 years ago. So, yeah, but one thing that always makes me laugh when I think of Russ is that he and Marty Harris
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
go out to eat twice or three times a week to like dives. They would find these little divey places and go try food. It just makes me laugh.
that's another
Marty
guy
Harris and
I
Ross.
miss so much of Marty Harris.
Oh,
My nose is running. I'm sorry. I've got
that's okay. We're almost over here. Yeah, Marty Harris he was funny. When he played his ass off, he played his ass off. But
he
when he
did.
didn't,
Yeah.
oh my God, he was
Oh,
he was exasperating when he didn't. But he was very loyal. He was a really nice human being,
yes, yes, he was.
Yeah. And he did play his ass off too.
So many of those people are gone now. It's just the way it is.
Shitloads, man. And on that note,
Yeah.
it's been 2 hours, believe it or not. This
Is
has
it
been
really?
yeah. It's been a great hang, Chuck. Thank you so much for hanging out.
Well, I came close to calling you yesterday with this cold. I thought maybe I should cancel it. And then Julie said, no, you'll be fine. So I said
Thanks, Julie.
Kleenex instead. And I am fine. I mean, it's just
It's like a summer cold or something.
yeah, which I never get hardly.
Yeah.
But we went away and then we ate dinner at different places and somehow
Yeah.
that's the way it is. It's no big deal.
You'll be better like tomorrow or the next day.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. Anyway, I appreciate your allowing me to do this.
Thank you, Chuck Berghofer. Thank you. I really appreciate you, love you, and thanks, Julie,
All
for
the-
being there.
thank you.
You can
And
come
all
on.
the people that
Come
are
into the
watching or
camera.
whatever. I love all of them. They're so great.
Julie, move into the camera.
Yeah, I mean,
There she is.
I just think it's marvelous that, Chuck anybody can have a career doing what they love what they're doing, that it's not,
Yeah.
it's not a work, it's not even a career, just a chance to play, literally to just play for all
Yeah.
these years. It's a really amazing
Well,
blessing.
Julie's the real musician in the house.
Are you still playing, Julie? Like out in the world?
I'm playing a lot of piano, but not
Not
not harp.
her thumb is totally screwed up. She's gonna have to either have an operation or something. And so we've got the $60,000 harp sitting there, But she's
That's a
the
whole other
real
thing.
musician though. I swear to God, she's unbelievable.
There you
Well,
go.
I could answer some of Taylor's questions about training. Taylor, we went to classical music school at 11, classical college, but I can tell you about reading and, all that being taught, and Chuck does it all from ears and heart and, interaction. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, it's two different things. Yeah, you're right.
That's pretty wild. Yeah.
She can do anything, write stuff out, just play a piano part that's, if you look at it, oh my God, oh, anyway. She's not a jazz player,
No,
which
not
is a
at
good
all.
thing.
Not at all.
Well, I applaud
Thank you,
you.
Cathy.
Yeah, thank you, Cathy.
Thank you.
Thank you too. I love you both. And you can sign off. I'm just going to chat and tell people who's coming on and stuff. But thank you so
Everybody who's
much.
watching, bless you. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Thank
Chuck.
you, Kathy. Take
Thanks,
care.
Julie. You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Wow, nice hang. And you just push
Trying to figure out
in.
how to show.
There you go. Chuck Berghofer. Wow, that was really pretty impressive, right? Wow, very impressive human and career. And who knows, maybe it's because he's part Haitian, not Haitian, I forget what he said. Anyway, tomorrow I'm having a wonderful singer who is from Seattle, Gail Pettis. She's a really good singer, very warm and just beautiful sound, really beautiful sound. And so I'm looking forward to that. Then Thursday through Sunday I'm posting archives. There's Abe Pearlstein, who's a jazz, well, actually not a jazz DJ. He's a DJ from up the coast here on the West Coast. Rosanna Vitro, great singer from New York. Dina DeRose, who was here today. Tahitian, thank you, Joyce. Yeah, so Chuck is part Tahitian, about that much. And Dina DeRose, great singer and pianist who lives in Austria. And Kim Richmond is on Sunday, great, especially alto player and composer and arranger. And next week, July 4th, going to have an archive. Kate McGarry, Leona Helm, and Shauna Tucker, all singers. Shauna also plays cello, and they all wanted to be on together. And Tuesday, I have an older man, Don Slaughter, who is a trumpet player for people like Nancy Wilson, and he had a substantial career in the old days. So he has a lot of great stories, and he's really fun to talk to. He's older. I think he's 90 or maybe older. And Wednesday, Renee Martin, great singer. And then Thursday, I'll have an archive of Corey Allen, great pianist and arranger and producer. And Friday, I have it's a live day, Ziza Muftik. She's a great singer I came across. She doesn't live here. And so sometimes I get ideas for people when I look at various music online streaming. And I can't remember, I either got her from Soapbox or maybe I got her from the Jazz Gallery. Anyway, really good. So that's stuff. And I actually just got a gig for next week. Well, hold on. This week, oh my gosh. Okay, if you're in LA, Saturday, July 2nd, I have my monthly gig over at the conference room, which is in Playa Vista, which is kind of near LAX. Easy parking, but you have to know where to get into the parking. So go on my website. I have directions. And it's a really cool environment. I've been playing there a few years. And it's got great food. It's the gig is outdoors on their beautiful patio. It's really nice. And I do the first set and then I have a jam session. So if you want to come and jam, jazz jam, come and jam with us. The gig is 6:30 to 9:30. If you're jamming, there's a $5 cover. And if you're not, it's $10 cover. The band is great. Dave Arnay on piano, John Leftwich on bass, and Tina Raymond on drums. It's a very cool band. And then I just got a gig on Tuesday, July 5th at La Puglia, which is a really beautiful restaurant over on Wilshire in Santa Monica. And the music is run by this really cool guy who has a foundation. I didn't realize that, Eduardo Signore. And he had played at Bar Fedora with Eliana Estevao, who that night had oh my God, I'm having a brain collapse. Oh gosh, Dan, help me. Todd plays for her. Todd Hunter plays for her. But her name is right on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, so Eduardo had played there that night, and he has this organization called A Call for Peace. And Dionne Warwick, thank you, Warsick. Your spelling came out wrong, but yes, Dionne Warwick. She also came and sang that night at Bar Fedora, which is a place I booked for 2.5 years downtown LA. And anyway, so Eduardo has this really interesting organization that he's had for a number of years, and he books La Puglia. And so he called me and asked me if I wanted to do this gig. And as some of you know, especially in LA, I've been working on this project, and I did a few gigs and recording just a few months ago. It's a no-net project with John Leftwich. It's a project that we've been creating that is really cool. It has a lot of cool music and arrangements, John's arrangements, and like a few standards, a few originals, a few what I call jazz standards, some Brazilian, really nice. So we have a great band from the No Net. Actually, we took like a trio from the No Net instead of piano. Unfortunately, they have a great piano there, and I couldn't get my favorite piano players who were familiar with this music. So we got the great guitar player who's on the project for the most part, although we did have a few others, but Mitchell Long, who's, if you guys know who Mitchell Long is, then you know he's an incredible player. He's just great. He has a love affair with Brazilian music, but he's great in everything. And then John Leftwich, the great bass player John Leftwich, and Chris Blondal, the drummer, who books the jazz series now at St. Bees in Eagle Rock, but he was on the record and did the project as well. So we're gonna stimulate some of that. I hope that those of you who can come out, that's Tuesday night, July 5th, and that is from 6:30 to 9:30. They have amazing food. Hope that you can come. There's no cover. And part of the reason I hope you can come is because it's so kind of last minute. We would love to have a crowd, and it's going to be really fun. The band is incredible, and I'm just going to have a great time. It's great. And I get to sing the music again, you know, which is great. So that's all for me, ladies and gentlemen. I'll see you tomorrow with Gail Pettis, I hope, and I'll see you on these 2 gigs. If you're in LA, come down and hang out. Okay. Goodbye, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what I'm doing.